15 not out, that's Azim Premji for you. Joining us now for a very special conversation is the co-founder of Infosys and Narayana Murthy joining us now on India Business Hour. Mr. Murthy, thanks very much for joining us here. We're talking about the half-century that Azim Premji completes at Wipro today. There's a very interesting story about how Infosys may never have happened if Azim Premji had given you a job at Wipro. Can you recount that story for us?
Well, it was sometime in 79, 80, and my friend Prasanna, who used to be head of HR at Wipro at that time, he talked to me about my meeting Mr. Premji because they were looking for somebody to start the software group. Then I met Azim at the Wellington Club, if I'm right, and we had a long discussion on the market opportunities, on strategies, and how to go about all of that. And in the end, obviously, he was not very impressed with me. Therefore, he decided not to offer me the job. And in some way, it was a blessing in disguise. I'm very grateful to him for that. So that in some way accelerated the founding of Infosys. And after that, we used to meet quite a lot because once liberalization took place, once he realized that Infosys had something good going for it, he would meet me many times in a year. He would ask me lots of questions. We would meet him. And so that's how we started getting to know each other.
Well, Infosys took off because Wipro didn't give you that job, Mr. Murthy. But, I want to pick up on that very interesting point that you made. You talked about how it was a very open environment, how you would meet Mr. Premji and his team, how he would meet you and your team, including Nandan. But how do you foster a culture of collaboration with a competitor?
I've always believed that there is so much one can learn from competitors, and you can compete, but at the same time, you can be courteous to your competitors. And there are things that you can share with your competitors because in some sense, all of us are in the business of co-opetition. There are areas where you compete, there are areas where you collaborate. NASCOM is all about that, right? So therefore, both Azim and I, we operated on the principle of co-opetition. For example, how do we make India a much more attractive destination for the customers in the United States for software development? That is something where both Azim and I had something to contribute, and that's something common to both of us. And both of us would be winners by discussing and coming out with some good ideas. So that's how we used to work,
Mr. Murthy, you talked about areas of convergence, but what were the key points of differentiation in the way that Wipro started out and Infosys started out? What have been the key points of differentiation in the strategies that both companies have adopted?
No, I don't know because I don't know their strategy that well, so it's not fair for me to comment. All that I would say from the perspective of Infosys is that we realized that the only way that Infosys can win the game is by us constantly innovating, by us learning from people, from our competitors, by us doing better than our competitors, by us ensuring that our customers saw much better value from us compared to our competitors.
So before I let you go, Mr. Murthy, what would you say is Azim Premji's biggest contribution to the Indian IT sector? What is the Premji legacy?
Well, I think Premji's most impactful legacy is his good governance methodology. He is one person who separated management from control. He ran the company in the most professional way. He has run the company in the most professional way. So to me, the biggest takeaway is how even though you own 75% of a large corporation, you still make it a place for professionals to excel. You still make sure that the profession, the dignity and respect for professionals is kept high. That to me is what I have learned from Azim.
Mr. Murthy, it's always a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you very much for joining us here.